What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got some pretty cool stuff to talk about regarding the Curse of Osiris expansion. I want to talk about the level cap change, PlayStation exclusives, and I'm also going to talk about some of the words regarding new content in the game, including the raid, new weapon mods and social space secrets, and then some pretty awesome stuff about new characters, returning characters, and how some of the story will play out in this expansion. I will give spoiler warnings before I get to it, although it is pretty minimal. If you do want to skip it though, I will let you know. So firstly, Curse of Osiris will be raising the base character level as well as the main power level cap for the game. So base character levels will be increasing to 25, so we'll have another 5 ranks of kind of base XP to grind before we can begin actually power leveling in this expansion, which I'm personally a fan of. We saw kind of a bigger version of this back when they launched the Taken King, and it looks like this is going to be part of the level cap increase, going forward with expansions. But the power level beyond that will be increasing to 330 when this expansion drops. Presumably that will be 330 base power level, so we'll be looking at 335 with mods and everything like that equipped. So I think the combination of XP level as well as power level and the increase is going to be pretty decent for this expansion. Up next, I wanted to mention PlayStation exclusives briefly. There will be one PlayStation exclusive PvP map in the new expansion, and this is currently the only confirmed piece of PlayStation exclusive content, so perhaps that's all we'll actually see inside of the expansion. Of course, this was revealed at the PlayStation conference, but the PvP map we've seen so far is called Wormhaven, and this will actually be the PlayStation exclusive map. Luke Smith previously confirmed that vanilla exclusives will become available sometime in late 2018. Whether that will be the same for the DLC exclusives, we'll have to wait and see. But up next, I wanted to talk about some of the new content, and this comes from 2 sources, so the PlayStation blog and an interview with The Telegraph, which I will leave the links to in the description below. The PlayStation blog said, Curse of Osiris comes packed with content, a new quest, missions, strikes, adventures, and raid activity will soon make Mercury feel like your new home for the long term as you start tackling those new milestones. So obviously we know all of this stuff already, but the wording raid activity will soon make Mercury feel like your new home does actually make it sound like this would be a new raid activity, obviously taking place on the planet Mercury. So I would take that as confirmation that there will be a raid activity on Mercury, but the information we have on this is still very minimal. The fact that they don't simply say new raid is kind of bizarre. I mentioned yesterday that maybe we'd be seeing an updated raid, something like Vault of Glass. I think another possibility could be that they do something like a 3 or 4 man PvE activity, which is actually more heavily based on raid mechanics, so not like, Prison of Elders. We'll have to wait and see, but the one thing we can say is that they said raid activity will make Mercury feel like your new home for the long term, and I think really you'll have to make your own decision on what that could mean. But in the Telegraph interview, a Bungie employee said there's a wealth of new armor, weapons, and mods to obsess over, and they reiterate new main quest, missions, strikes, activities, and yes, a raid activity. But the thing to pick out of that is that there will be new mods inside of this expansion, which obviously is good to hear. I'm really hoping that they expand, what mods can do for pieces of gear, especially for weapons. They're quite minimal at the moment. But of course, we've also heard briefly about the Lighthouse, which will be a social space in this expansion. But Bungie have said it will be new and improved with plenty of mysteries to discover, and one of the developers also said it's now open for everybody to take a look at its mysteries. Of course, we've seen some of the little interesting secret things you can activate in social spaces in the base game, and I think we can expect similar things, and hopefully they'll expand on what that means and the potential rewards for that. So on the whole, it's sounding pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing more about this raid activity in particular, but of course we will be getting a bunch of live streams, and we can anticipate a lot of news over the next kind of month until this expansion drops. But we have some cool words here about the kind of story, the direction, new characters, and everything like that that'll be coming inside of this expansion. Obviously, if you completely want to avoid details, then you can skip this part of the video, although like I said, it is fairly minimal. But they said Bungie's post-show presentation opened with an extended look at the cinematic trailer that set up the events that lead into Curse of Osiris. A clash between a fire team and a Vex army is interrupted by the time-traveling warlock Osiris, who freezes time mid-battle to more comfortably continue his own still unknown mission, but is stopped in his tracks by the Vex, who suddenly and mysteriously reactivate, and the last thing we see is him outnumbered and fighting for his life. So it's a really cool idea. I'm pretty sure that he's actually moving through the Vault of Glass like we've said before, but it says the expansion starts with Ikora charging you with finding out what befell him. Solving the mystery will take you to a new destination on Mercury. Bungie explains Osiris' ghost, Sagira, will be dragging you through space and time in this new adventure to track down her companion. Their split was abrupt as Osiris tossed her into a nearby portal to save her life as the Vex Vex closed in. She took a hit during the trip though, and the cinematic ends with her shell being gradually buried by the shifting sands on Mercury. It looks like you'll have to locate and repair her before your journey can begin. And they say that Sagira the Ghost will be kind of one of the key storytellers and will lead you through this expansion, so that's really interesting. This will be the first ghost character which isn't our own that we're actually interacting with in the game. But they add that Brother Vance is stepping away from his Trials of Osiris role for the sequel and will play your guide during the events of the expansion, leading you to the Infinite Forest to locate Osiris. And Bungie described the Infinite Forest as a simulated reality in the middle of a time controlled by the Vex. And a Bungie dev said in an interview, an ancient gateway has sprung into life and spewed out a steady stream of Vex from across the timelines. They're not exploring or investigating, they're moving with a purpose. Something important has been put into motion, and it will be your objective to find out what it is and how to stop it. And they add that this is the first time we've been able to dig into the Vex and their backstory with players, so there's a lot to learn about the Vex in Curse of Osiris, what they've been up to, and how to stop them from doing what they're doing. So overall, it's sounding pretty exciting so far. We finally get more story about Osiris, we learn more about the Vex, which has taken quite a long time. Of course, they kind of played a bizarre role in the vanilla story for Destiny 1. But on top of this cool story stuff, exploring Mercury, we're also going to be getting some pretty cool changes and additions of content. And it's also worth remembering that on top of this new content, Season 2 will bring a lot of changes to existing content in the game to make it replayable. And we've all heard the things that Bungie have listed, the changes that they want to make to the endgame and the economies in the game. So overall, I think this is sounding pretty promising. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed the video as always. If you have, a like really helps me out on the channel. If you're new around here and you want to keep up to date with the world of Destiny 2, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But for now, I appreciate you guys watching and I hope you have an awesome day.